33rd Company was incorporated in Minnesota in 1993. We're members of the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association, which is one of the most prolific property management associations in the country. We're also members of the National Association of Residential Property Managers, NARPM. And in fact, we're one of only 50 residential management companies who are nationally certified and hold the CRMC designation from NARPM. We received our certification in 2011, and we are certainly quite proud of that certification. We're also members of the Institute of Real Estate Management, IREM, which is a nationally known association of property management professionals. 33rd Company is a licensed contractor. We can take extremely good care of your home. We're also licensed brokers. We can sell your home. One of the nice things about having a tenant in your home is you might have a ready, willing, and able buyer living in your home called the tenant. Perhaps they want to buy the home later on. 33rd Company can do a facilitation sale between the owner and the tenant for a very affordable commission. In fact, generally half of a normal real estate commission. We can also do something called a dual listing for you as a licensed broker. This is where we list your home both for sale and for rent simultaneously. This is a very important thing to be able to do. Sometimes owners want to test the market, put their home up for sale, and see what kind of interest that they might get. This helps the owner get feedback from the market while trying to sell the home. And certainly, if the market is not lending itself to selling your home, we can continue to show simultaneously the property for rent, and if the home doesn't sell, we can continue to rent the home. 33rd Company is a group of licensed real estate professionals, and the majority of our employees either have a license or are working towards their real estate license. We're also certified investor specialists and can help maximize your returns, whether it's from buying, selling, or leasing. Lastly, we're an accredited business with the Better Business Bureau, so you can have confidence that your property management company holds the highest standards of ethics, professionalism, and training in the industry. So with 33rd Company, you get all the talent you need in the form of a licensed contractor, a licensed broker, and licensed real estate agents, as well as certified property management experts. I think you will find that the staff from 33rd Company is going to be extremely responsive to your needs. We can take very good care of you and your home, and will help maximize your investment and your return on investment. When you're ready to sign up with 33rd Company and list your home for rent, you do need to fill out a few forms. The first one is the Real Estate Property Management Service Agreement. Basically, that's your rental listing. There's also an ACH form that you would fill out because that's how we distribute rents to owners electronically. The Residential Property Management Service Agreement is a very simple form to complete. You just fill in the gray boxes, the date, your name, the county, and where the rental home is located, and the rental home's address and zip code. The initial listing term with 33rd Company is just 90 days. You can leave that box blank or you can fill in 90 days, but that would be the minimum. That gives us enough time to give it the old college try to get your home rented, and in fact, typically our homes rent on average about 30 days after the listing. The leasing range. Once we visit your property, we can give you an estimated leasing range for the fair market value of the rental property. We will never change the asking rent without an agreement from the owner as well. We also want to find a range that's helpful when we have tenants who are trying to get, for instance, multi-year leases. This is why we ask for a rental range instead of a specific listing price from you, so that we have a little flexibility to negotiate with tenants going forward. So as much as we would like to, no one can actually exactly predict what the rent will be when your home goes up on the open market. Sometimes we need to make some adjustments based on click data. That's why typically we give you this rental range and also provide you weekly click data so you can make sure your home is priced to rent. The last page of the agreement requires your signature. You would also include your Social Security number or EIN number if your home is owned as part of an LLC. And yes, we give you a 1099 at the end of the year, as well as a detailed maintenance summary that you can drag and drop right into your Schedule E or hand off to your CPA if they do your taxes. As part of our services, we also have a property information and leasing restrictions addendum that you would fill out as well. Our recommendation for the washer and dryer on this list is that you consider conveying a washer and dryer. In many states, especially in California, people take their washers and dryers with them. But in most of the other states, our experience is that most people generally leave their washers and dryers, and most tenants generally don't have a washer and dryer. So this is an important thing to leave. It adds a little extra value to the competitive rental market, and it'll help make your home more attractive across the board. With regard to service plans, most owners do come to us and say, hey, I've got a service plan through my utility company that's maybe $25 or $30 a month. Generally, what we found with most appliance service plans is they're not cost effective, not so much because the repairs aren't cost effective, but because if the appliance is unserviceable or if there's an appliance that from a scheduling perspective they're not able to accommodate in a reasonable period of time, you're going to have some problems. The problems specifically we find are mostly scheduling related problems. Typically, when a refrigerator goes out, for instance, you can imagine the reaction of your tenant if they're told by a service plan company that it'll be 5 days before a service plan technician can schedule a repair. This is pretty much disaster when it comes to customer service with your tenant. So especially in light of our ability to get steep discounts with our own vendor network and control their schedules, you're going to find that you're going to be far better off not enrolling in a typical utility company provided service plan and better off simply using our network of vendors to get faster, more timely repairs and to keep the customer satisfaction as high as possible with your tenant. Some property owners also have preferred vendors. They have their own vendors that they've been working with for years for their home. If you do have a favorite plumber, for instance, we would be happy to use their services for your home. While you may not get the same discounts from our vendor pool, you do at least have the option to use your own trusted vendors. We simply need to have a list of your preferred vendors when you list your property with us so that this information is available at the time a maintenance event occurs. Then we will call that vendor and we will provide them a work order and dispatch them to take care of that issue. With regard to maintenance, many owners use approximately $100 to $150 per month as a budgetary estimate for repairs. Things can break and wear out over time, and of course with a rental property, you want to make sure that you're keeping a budgetary reserve of funds available to accommodate those maintenance issues as they arise over time. You can also aggregate your actual costs over prior years and use that as an estimate for your recurring maintenance costs, but we found about $100 to $150 is a pretty reasonable budgetary estimate. The listing addendum should also include any provided services that you're going to be offering the tenants, like lawn service. Of course, our recommendation is that the tenant take responsibility for these services, but if there is something that you are going to offer a tenant, this is where you would write that information. The only thing typically that the owner will pay for is going to be a mortgage and any association fees, like for a townhome, for instance. Everything else is going to be paid for by the tenant. Any association-provided services would obviously accrue to the tenant, and the tenant would not need to perform those services during the tenancy. As far as the documentation on the last page of the addendum, we would need to get a copy of your rental liability insurance. Basically, you're going to get a rental dwelling insurance package, which is also called a DP3 or a BOP. Let's talk a little bit about insurance. Typically, the difference between your current homeowner's insurance policy and a rental insurance policy in terms of fees is that your rental insurance policy might be a little bit higher, but not substantially higher. When you insure your home as a residential home, you're paying for coverage for the structure. You're also paying for coverage for the furnishings, which might be a proportion of the structure's value. Typically 50% of the cost of the structure, they would include for your furnishings, your diamond rings, your couches, your chairs, all of those things. Depending on your insurance coverage and what your insurance adds to your premiums, let's just say it's going to be $750 a year is what your annual fee is for your insurance policy. When you convert that residential policy into a rental policy, you're going to be paying a little bit higher cost for the structural insurance because now your home is more at risk. It's a rental property. But you're also not going to have any personal property in the home except for maybe washers, dryers, refrigerators, and stoves. That's called chattel in the real estate industry. Anyway, you take those two premiums, add them together, and you'll find that instead of $750 a year, maybe it's $800 a year that you'll be paying for your residential rental insurance policy. When you add those two costs together, like I said, instead of that $750, it might be just a little bit higher, but not going to be substantially higher. Of course, if you shop around, you might even find a better value. We can provide referrals for insurance companies that have excellent rental packages and at very competitive rates. One thing you may want to be sure is included in your residential rental property is something called loss of use coverage. Typically, a rental building policy will include loss of use coverage. For instance, if your home is burned down during a tenancy and the tenants have to move out, it might take 10 months for the insurance company to rebuild that home. Guess what? You're going to be out $15,000 on average over a 10-month period of vacancy. The insurance company will pay you for that loss of use if a circumstance like that occurs. They'll compensate you for the lost rent. The other thing that you want to make sure you have is general liability protection. 33rd Company recommends a minimum of $1 million worth of general liability protection. $1 million worth of general liability costs about $100 a year, and it'll help you sleep at night. If the tenant slips down the stairs because the railing isn't attached to the wall, guess what? You could be facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in litigation, in lost wages, attorney's fees, you name it. By having $1 million worth of general liability insurance, you'll find that you're going to be completely covered. 33rd Company will also be listed as an additional insured on your policy. That doesn't cost you anything. As an additional insured, now that umbrella covers not only you, but your property management company, because of course we didn't build the house or know anything about issues that may be lurking behind the walls. This way, if there ever is litigation, all three of us, you, your insurance company, and the property management company, will all be sitting at the same table in the courtroom and will generally be very successful if there is any litigation. With general liability insurance, you'll also have access to the experienced insurance attorney that can protect you if there is litigation. Again, that's one of the best deals in insurance going, so make sure you have good rental coverage and good general liability insurance. We can also provide you a referral for a good insurance agent that's knowledgeable about rental policies and can provide you with a great discount for your coverage. Another thing you'll need is proof of ownership or deed. You can obtain that from your county's government website. Once you leave the home, you need to leave 4 sets of keys. 1 set will be placed in a lockbox, and the 3 additional keys will be left on the kitchen counter. You should also leave your garage door openers, any remote controls you have, your appliance manuals, and any homeowner association documents that you might have. Leave all of this on your kitchen counter, and we'll put it in a big binder and be sure to keep track of it and check it out to each tenant as we go forward. For homeowners association documents, we need to have a copy of the document so that they can be provided to the tenant who is expected to abide by these rules. We'll need anything that would govern the normal use of the home, such as association guest parking spots and things like that. You'll also need a rental license from the city. Many cities require rental licenses and rental inspections. You can get yourself a rental license application, typically from the city website. We'll help you fill that out. And in some cases, cities require an endorsement or a notarization by the property management company so that we can be a part of that rental license application to get you going. Once you fill out the property management service agreement, you would also provide funds for the retainer fee and the first month's advertising. The retainer fee that 33rd Company charges will apply towards your leasing fee when the home rents. So you're not going to lose that money. It's just the upfront listing fee that we charge when you submit your listing agreement with us. The services and fee schedule for our property management service can also be found on our website for a complete list of all of the fees that we have for renting your property. We've got some of the very best property management and brokerage services available. While we're not the least expensive management company in the country, we feel that we have the best management services, and in fact, despite our fees, you're going to find that you're going to have the highest returns, more so than any other management company in the country. We're going to provide you the best possible return on your investment, keep your property in great shape, and provide considerate and responsible adults as tenants on a year-in, year-out basis. Thank you again for watching this video on residential property management. We hope it's been very informative, and we hope you've learned a lot about what the rental market is all about. Becoming a landlord, becoming a real estate investor can be very complex at times. There are a lot of factors you have to consider, and finding a good partner in property management is also critical to making sure that your investment is a success. Rather than looking at your unsold home as a boat anchor, I hope you will see now that your unsold home could actually be one of your greatest investments. Here at 33rd Company, we can help you get started on the right foot to make sure that your investment is a success. Give us a call or visit our website today at 33rdcompany.com, and your home will be in the best hands possible.